Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update for everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Whack Attack. Today is November 16th, and let's get started. So, the first thing we have here is Joe had a couple of updates. He said thing one, this is overnight. He said thing one, new trees are up in rewards tree preview thread, and these are the first to use the updated version 2 rules, which prorate mini pools based on how long they've been alive. So people with mini pools 28 days or older will get a small pay boost. Thing two, we've started testing Atlas on our internal dev network. Kane and I are running through the smart node changes needed to support it. So those of you that stock GitHub will start to see the Atlas branch of the various smart node repos start to pick up. That's really exciting because Atlas obviously is the next big update from Rocket Pool. It's the one that's going to include the LEB8s, which are mini pools that let you use 8 ETH of collateral to start a mini pool instead of 16 that we currently use. So everyone's really excited about that. Everyone's really excited, like wanting that to happen. So they're testing it internally. I guess then the next steps are community testing, I think, then the audit, and then as long as everything in the audit's clear, I think that's it. However, I'm not 100% sure on that chain of that order of events, but I think that's accurate. So that's really cool. I think it's going to be really great to see that that happening, the progress happening, like Joe says here, you know, if you stalk the GitHub, you can see everything because it's all public, and Rocket Pool's contracts are all open source, so you can go and have a look at everything as the team is working on them, and you can even test it yourself, I guess, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's really great. Next, we had this update from Dookie, who had a link to a MakerDAO vote, which was about the last vote for onboarding rETH to Maker. So right now, Maker have agreed to having rETH on Maker. Currently, the debt ceiling is set to $0. This vote is to change that to $5 million, which is the first step. And then Jasper says this is indeed the last one. Front ends will begin going live in a few days, which is really exciting to see. And it's a long time coming. But Maker is, you know, the next step on using your rETH as collateral. So you can borrow, deposit your rETH, mint DAI in return for that. So that's really exciting. I think a bunch of people are waiting to be able to do that so they can start doing more with their rETH. So I think that's going to be really great. 5 million debt ceiling doesn't sound like much, but I think what will happen is, you know, eventually they'll move that up so people can deposit more, which would be really good. So I think the next one after that is Aave that we really want, and then the best thing would be if any of these protocols allowed depositing rETH and getting ETH in return, because then you can use that for folding, but that doesn't exist at the moment. So once we get that would be really great. So fingers crossed. The next thing is something that I missed from a couple of days ago. I actually saw the comment, but I forgot to add it to my list of things, and then someone reminded me on YouTube, which was really nice of them. So here we have this comment from Hartik, I think that's how you pronounce it. And they said, this is a person who works at Etherscan, and they said, Harith from Etherscan here, regarding the oDAO node, apologies for the trouble caused and thanks to the Rocket Pool team for helping us resolve the issue. We'd like to contribute and remain invested as an oDAO member for the long term if that's acceptable to the team and community, and will improve our coordination going forward. Next steps, we'll refund those who deposited the 1 ETH for the challenge, and we'll also return the unearned rewards from the time our node is offline to pay to the oDAO. To the pDAO. So that's community fund. We'll coordinate on doing this soon and update when we have. So that's really great that, you know, the challenge money is going to be refunded to the people who put money towards that, and also that the rewards for the 45 or 46 days that they were offline will go to the pDAO, which is a nice chunk of RPL. I think it'll be around 8 on maybe 11 or 1200 RPL, which is very nice. So that will be put to use by the community, which is really great. There's one thing that's missing here in this comment, and I'm not sure if it was made elsewhere or not, but there's no explanation of what actually happened, and I don't think, as far as I know, there's been any explanation of what actually happened, which I think the community would really appreciate. If there has been a comment about what actually happened, if someone can share that with me, I'll definitely share it in tomorrow's Rocket Fuel. However, I think that's something that's definitely missing from rETH here, who's telling us how they're going to fix what's happened, but they didn't tell us why that actually happened to begin with. And I think that is really important to know, just to make sure that we don't have the same issues going forward. So that's that. Next, we had Thomas share this tweet from Marceau. And Marceau obviously is not really posting in the Rocket Pool community Discord anymore, but he's still tweeting about Rocket Pool, which is really great. I've really missed talking about him on Rocket Fuel as well. So there's this post, and this post is in praise of Ramana's Rocket Arb bot. So it says this Arb contract might look somewhat insignificant, but it's actually an insanely important piece of infrastructure and scaling for Rocket Pool. And then there's a link to Jasper's tweet that we covered a couple of days ago. And then Marceau goes into the thread. He says it introduces elasticity into the supply, alleviating growth bottlenecks, since incentives to create mini pool will now grow with demand/premium. 2, it routes the R profit back into the Rocket Pool ecosystem rather than letting it be captured by MEV bots. You instantly get 2+% return on deposit. This would be 6+% on LEBs, a year's worth of yield, which is huge. 3, it helps defend the peg on the upside. We'll need a similar ARB contract for exits to defend the peg on the downside. So the way the bot on the downside would work is the mini pool would be empty, and then there'd be a discount because a lot of people are selling their rETH tokens on the secondary market. There'd be a discount. So what would happen is you would leave your mini pool, and in the transaction of you leaving your mini pool, the ETH from your contract would go back to the deposit pool, and then you would withdraw that right away, and then you would buy in the secondary market and then burn it in the deposit pool. So there's it's a complicated process, right? Like, it's not straightforward. However, like Marceau says here, the potential for gains is really huge, and it's up to once LEBs are in place, it'll be as much as a year's worth of yield, which is absolutely fantastic. So then Marceau says we'll need to a similar ARB contract for exits to defend the peg on the downside. And then Marceau says a beautiful piece of code from Ramana.eth, which everyone is so proud of, right? And Marceau says the Rocket Pool team should further capitalize on this by A, giving the ARB first class support within the command line interface, which is something Joe was talking about in the community space yesterday, about how giving it first class support would mean that it would get audited by the external auditors, and it would become part of the actual node setup in the smart node stack. And then B, Marceau says swapping out the deposit pool front end for 1inch, which now natively supports the deposit pool and removes deposit pool complexity, improves supply elasticity. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later, but that's a really great thread from Marceau. It's his first thread that he's had since leaving the Rocket Pool community, so the Discord community. So I'm really happy to see this thread. And a lot of people were really happy to see this thread as well. So that was wonderful. So the next thing is SuperPhiz had this idea of there being a new Rocket Pool poap, and he says that there's a couple of ideas of the 1 year anniversary that we had last week, and also the green checks, and then they were talking about setting up a poap and the different ways of doing that, and just kind of doing something for the community. So there are a couple of options, a couple of ideas, and going forward. So it looks like the idea that is going to win out is a poap for the 1 year anniversary of Rocket Pool, which was last week. And then also this being a poap delivery poap, where people will give about $5 or something like that, and then that money would go to the Rocket Pool grants, the GMC, and that will be going out to people to pay for their grants. So I think that would be really wonderful, and I'll be happy to pay a couple of dollars for that. However, and like this, of course, as always with these delivery poaps, it's an opt-in thing. Like if you don't want to pay the money, you don't have to. No one's forcing you to do that. There's nothing that's going to get unlocked by having this poap, maybe. But there are people in the community who feel like the spirit of poap was more about it being a free thing, right? And it being a proof of attendance instead of proof of payment in a sense. These are just criticisms that I'm sharing that I've seen other people make in the Discord. I've paid for a bunch of poaps over the last couple of months, and I'll probably pay for this one too. But I'm just like kind of letting people know that there's some contention to this method of delivery. But hey, like I guess it still works. So yeah. Okay, so the next thing I want to share is this conversation that kind of brought up in trading overnight, and I said more and more of us are starting to think we have bottomed or are very close to it. So everyone wants to know when the bottom of the crypto market is, so they can get their positions for the next cycle. And if we are bottomed, then this is a good time to buy and get into position, right, for what might be coming ahead. So then I said some of us are starting to think it, but not Dibsby, and he said F no. And then I said, what are your thoughts on when we bottom? And he said, I don't know anymore, stop guessing because I'm always wrong. And then Halzen says maybe we've already bottomed, which is what I think as well. And then I go on to explain, I think ETH has, and I think RPL has too. I don't think Bitcoin has. Overall, on total market cap for crypto, I think we have, or we will within the next couple of weeks. And my reasoning for that was, the contagion fallout should make itself clear within the next couple of weeks. The fallout from FTX should make itself clear within the next couple of weeks. And once all that's clear, then hopefully that'll be the end of that. However, Meek had some really interesting points to share. He came into trading to talk about it as well. He said, we're not even close to max pain yet. So I said, what are your thoughts? And he thinks that ETH will go down to $500 on the wick and it'll crab below $1,000 for a while. I think a lot of people are thinking that might be, for a year, maybe 2 years. I've seen some people even think like maybe 3 years before, we start to get out of that crab period. And we might touch the bottom a couple of times in that time. So I said, Meek says we have so much negative news coming, and I said, like what? So Meek then explains like a full partisan regulatory war over DeFi and self-custody, it's coming. And then the point I made against that was, and then he was also saying, I think we have a number of firms masking how bad their situation is, and the macro situation is extremely unstable. And about the regulatory stuff, I said that would be very bad, but with the House flipping to Republicans, now we've got we could get a regulatory gridlock with legislation that's just not moving or not moving much. But Meek said that the negative news about the battle is enough to spook people. So, and he says institutional money is dried up. So I think that while a bunch of people, not just myself but others as well, are thinking that we might have hit the bottom, there definitely are a lot of ways in which we might not be at the bottom, and it might still be 6 months away, it might be a year away. Of course no one ever knows. So I already bought a chunk a couple of months ago at prices that were not too much higher from where we are now, and I have an idea of when I'll be buying more, but we're a long ways away from that. So if we reach there, that's fantastic. If we don't reach there, then that's also fantastic. So yeah, moving on. Fizz came into trading. So he was quite active today, which was really nice. He says, is there any discussion about redirecting people from stake.rocketpool.net to a DEX when no rETH is available? These comments are getting too common. And then there's a link to an Reddit Ethereum page where people are asking about minting rETH and how you can't do that right now. So let me just see, there was something. there was actually like a change made to the website that lets you see. It tells you that the pool is full, and there's no way to mint it through the deposit pool itself. However, that it is available in the secondary market. However, some people in the community are kind of like hesitant to provide the option to users because right now there's a 2% premium on the secondary market, which is, at least a few months worth of rewards that are being taken away right away just in your purchase. So I'm trying to find that image, but I'm sorry I didn't have it loaded. I should have had it in place for you all. But I'm sorry I can't find it. Sorry about that. So then Jasper comes into trading to reply to Fizz. He says Langer said he will be doing a temperature check with the team on integrating 1inch, and the community seemed favorable. Now, this goes back to what Marceau was saying as well about integrating 1inch. He said swapping out the deposit pool front end for 1inch, which now natively supports the deposit pool and removes deposit pool complexity, improves supply elasticity. So that's what Jasper here is referencing, is that the team is working on this. And then a little while later, we had Langers come in and he said Nick is actually working on integrating 1inch. We are pretty close. SuperPhiz, tagged SuperPhiz. So this is really, really wonderful because you'll just have one front end that will find the best rate for you, regardless of whether that's through the deposit pool or whether that's in the secondary market. So I think that's a really good, that I'm a huge supporter of integrating 1inch. There was a question that someone asked about whether or not people in the US will still be able to use the front end from 1inch on the Rocket Pool website, because right now US residents are blocked from using the 1inch official front end. So I think that's something that we'll have to figure out, because otherwise, we'll just be cutting off so many people from minting our rETH. But I'm really happy that that's there. So, and that's happening soon. So that's really great to see. Next, we have some FTX stuff, which was just so crazy. Like, I had to kind of include it in today's episode because everyone in trading was talking about just how truly off the hook it was. So basically, someone from Vox was talking to SBF through Twitter DMs yesterday, and some of the stuff SBF was saying was just shocking. So the person on from Vox was saying, so the ethics stuff mostly a front. People will like you if you win and hate you if you lose, and that's how it all really works. And SBF says, yeah, I mean, that's not all of it, but it's a lot. The worst quadrant is sketchy and lose. The best is win and clean, or win and question mark. Clean and lose is bad but not terrible. And then he says, the person asked him, you said a lot of stuff about how you want to make regulations just good ones. Was that pretty much just public relations too, just PR too? And SPF says, there's no one really out there making sure good things happen and bad things don't, and then gives a thumbs up. He says, usually there's only one toggle, do more or do less. And then he says, yeah, just PR, fuck regulators, they make everything worse, they don't protect customers at all. So this is a huge departure from some of the stuff that he was saying. And then here's a link to the Vox article where the person talks about it, and people were literally saying, I can't believe this is real, and I'm speechless, and we're living in a simulation. And it was just, people were astounded by literally people saying, I can't believe my eyes, absolutely wild. So some of the stuff that he's saying is just truly shocking, truly shocking. I literally, Waldorf says, I literally cannot. That's how I am right now. I literally cannot. So it's just really, really strange. And then a little while later, there was over here, there was tweets from the official FTX account saying that Sam Bankman-Fried is no longer with FTX. He's resigned on November 11th, and there's no ongoing role, and does not speak on behalf of FTX anymore. So obviously he's just talking for himself. But this was really, really really mad. So that's all I have to say about that, really. It's just absurd. But anyway, I'm gonna finish on a more positive note. So last night I was in the Rocket Fuel thread on Discord, and Blue AVM said, "Is there a podcast link?" Because I shared the YouTube link for yesterday's Rocket Fuel, and I said yep, and then I linked him to my old provider, which was Podbean, which was a service, and said Blue AVM says, "Gotcha, it's not searchable podcast in iOS though, any workaround?" So I said I'm trying to get it listed on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but shrug. And then Donda came in and said, "I don't know what platform you're using, but I used Anchor.fm and had every platform set up within a couple of days." And Donda said, "I still have the set up accounts on different websites and link back to them, except Anchor supports Spotify automatically." And I said, "Wow, that looks great. It's letting me import all my podcasts from Podbean." And so basically that's what I did then today. I spent some time kind of messing around with Podbean, and I transferred all my old podcasts from Podbean across to Anchor.fm. And I said, "Dondo, I love you, and Rocket Fuel is growing." So then there's a link. It's now available on Spotify. You can click that link. And also it's now available on Apple Podcasts. You can click that link to get to it. And Donda said, "Woohoo, that's great." So seriously, a huge thank you to Donda Chaka, who was absolutely amazing in helping me get all this set up. And the Apple Podcast link is not working just yet, but it's all set up. It's just, I think, just needs to go through some kind of approval or something. I'm not exactly sure, but hopefully by tomorrow it should be working. But that is where it will be once it's all set. And the Spotify link is working now. As you can see, it's already giving a little thumbnail integration that's there. So now you've got Rocket Fuel is coming to you in more places, and it's going to be more accessible to you. If there are any places where you would like to find Rocket Fuel, there is there's an actual, on my Twitter account I shared a tweet. Let me see if I can find it. Let's go here. So on my Twitter account I shared here is the Anchor RSS for the actual, you can paste it into any of your apps. It said the podcast version of Rocket Fuel is New Home. New Home is on Spotify's Anchor. The link is here. It should be findable in your podcast app now too. But this, if you copy and paste this link from Twitter, you'll be able to find it on your, you should be able to paste it into your podcast app. But otherwise, in the next few days, I'll be adding more podcasts to this. So, well, more platforms. But if you want me to put it on the platform that is your favorite platform, just let me know. Just send me a message either on YouTube or Twitter or on Discord, either DM or on the Rocket Fuel thread, and I will add that podcast platform for you. So it'll make it even easier for you to listen to Rocket Fuel going forward. So on that note, I want to say I hope you all have a good evening, and I'm going to wish you all good night. See you tomorrow. Bye.